Hi everyone. Before starting this video, let me ask you one thing. Have you heard or seen Pokemon? I'm sure you have, but just to make sure. As you may already know, Pokemon is now hugely famous and popular in not only Japan but in the whole world. So today I'm going to talk about the history of Pokemon games and its revolution. Since the first edition of Pokemon was brought into the world, it's been more than 25 years now and we can see how long it has been loved by many people. Also, there's a card version of Pokemon where you can play and enjoy Pokemon cards. This now has world championships and many people from all over the world participate and battle with many players. I'm not talking about the Pokemon cards, but today's topic is the games. In 1996, the very first Pokemon game was created and brought into our lives. There were two types of the game, which were Pokemon Aka, red, and Midori, which is green. The game was a massive hit as over 31 million games were sold in the world. I assume many of you guys have seen this edition but not played it because it was pretty old and for our generations around 20s we didn't get a chance to play it. Then in the same year of 1996, Pokemon Owl Blue was made. This was also a blockbuster and surprisingly, although only 2 million games was sold in Japan, more than 30 million games was sold in the world. Everyone really liked this series at that time. These ones were the first edition of Pokemon game and the history had begun from this series. 2 years after Pokemon Aka, Midori and Owl, Pokemon Pikachu was released, but this wasn't a big hit compared to the previous games. But I'm sure everyone liked this because Pikachu is one of the main Pokemon, so they knew this would be a good one too. In 1999, a new series went on sale, which was Pokemon King and Ging, Pokemon Gold and Silver. It also had a great hit as over 23 million games were sold. You might wonder how people played those games. Well, the game console they used was Game Boy. As you can see the photo in the right bottom, there's a little space in the back of the device where you can insert a cassette. Once you insert the cassette, it loads the information and it can play. A year after that, in 2000, Pokemon Crystal version was released. It is the same game, just different series, but the game could be used for only Game Boy Color. So if they bought this, they had to buy the certain game console too. Then another new series came out in 2002. They were Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. I think many people are familiar with this series. I actually haven't played this one, but know the names. It had a great hit both in Japan and other countries. Another 2 years later, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green were released. And in 2006, Pokemon Emerald was made. From this series, the company started releasing every 2 years, and in order to play those games, they had to prepare Game Boy Advance. The name is similar to the previous one, but the shape of the machine is different. I think it is getting more closer to modern gaming consoles. In 2006, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out. This game is nostalgic for me because this was my first Pokemon game I played. Then Pokemon Platina was brought in 2008. I guess many people remember this package because at the time I thought it was really cool. Even though the cassette was impressive, not many people bought this game compared to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Next year, 2009, Nintendo made its first remake version of Pokemon Gold and Silver. It left a huge hit again and played by many people around the world. Another year passed. Pokemon Black and White came out. I think many people recognize Pokemon games from those series. And 2 years after, this is not a remake, but Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 also went on sale. It seems the first Black and White were more popular than the second version. Now, people stopped using Game Boy since Nintendo DS was invented. This was a revolution because the quality of graphics were amazing back then and most of the kids had Nintendo DS. Then Pokemon X and Y were put in the showcase in 2013. From here, I feel it is pretty recent and remember when it was released. Over 60 million cassettes were sold and many people enjoyed this game. Nintendo went along with it with the wave of its popularity. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which are the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire, were brought. They sold more than 40 million games in 2014. 2 years later, Pokemon Sun and Moon came out, but just a year after, on the same day, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out. Nintendo developed its game console, Nintendo 3DS. This one had a clearer sound and graphic. Also, there's a stick to move your characters, so it is way easier to play. In 2018, Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee was made. This game can connect to the smartphone app Pokemon Go and can bring Pokemons on Pokemon Go to those games. And then Pokemon Sword and Shield came out. This series had the third largest hit within its history as more than 22 million games were sold. I saw so many people playing this game and I was so surprised at how popular it is even in other countries. And in 2021, everyone got excited with the upcoming series, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They are the remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. The reason why people have been waiting for this is that it is said that previous Diamond Pearl were the best series among Japanese people. So many people went to the shop and bought this game. Then last year, Pokemon Legends Arceus came out. In this game, the characters and Pokemons move in 3D. So it is like you can see the Pokemons as in real life. Actually, the opinions for this game was so divided, as some people prefer the previous style, but some people like the new style. Same year as before, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out. This is the newest series so far. It is just released like 2 months ago, so I don't have much information about it yet, but I'm sure it's definitely going viral again as usual. Those series require people to have Nintendo Switch. This is also the newest game console for Nintendo. As it is portable and doesn't require to have internet to play, people can use it on a plane or anywhere, so many people bought it. This is the history of all Pokemon games. Now you've got how popular it is and how long it has been since the first edition was released. Pokemon actually contributes to spreading the Japanese culture a lot and make a trigger for foreign people to know about the country and its culture. I know that Nintendo will keep making amazing games and entertaining us in the future. Thank you for listening.